everyone, it's Rachel with Rachel's Super Cute Creations, and today we're going to make this gorgeous Bohemian tag. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. If you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up, please, and let's get started. So this has multiple pieces of fiber on it with just a variety of different textures and things on it. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I built the tag, and then we're going to just dig right in. So I started with just a plain inventory tag, and then I used some stencils to do a little bit of mixed media with some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. And so I love this. You can get it by Canvas Corp. Sells this, but you can get it various places. So I did multiple different stencils, and then from there I added, I don't know if you can see, some glitter glue in here, which is textured. I added some glossy accents here and included some of Tim Holtz Gold Distress glitter. So that's where this came from. Added some bling down here. This right here is a paper feather, which I'm going to show you how to make today as well. Added this little card, and on the back I added some graph paper and distressed it so that it's an area that can be written on. So I just think this is a beautiful tag, and I wanted to show everybody how I made it. And it doesn't take a lot of fabric. So let's go ahead and get started. So I started with one of these inventory tags. If you do not have Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist, there's a variety of things you can use. Lots of people make their own Glimmer Mist. Some people, you could use paint, you could use gesso, you could pretty much use whatever you want. And I have these really cheap stencils from the Dollar Tree. They came 4 on a big sheet, and I just cut them apart. And they're perfect for making tags. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I kind of think that these arrows, the chevron, excuse me, is kind of bohemian. And I don't really want this part to get the overspray, so I'm just folding this down like this. You can do whatever you want, but that's just my little trick. So Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist has this mica on the bottom, so you do need to shake it up because you want that glimmer and that shine. I don't shake it up and down for 2 reasons. 1, it can clog your sprayer, and 2, sometimes I've noticed it will leak out of the top. So if you shake it side to side and just kind of get it mixed up, you can see that it gets that mica mixed up, and then you're ready to go. So this color right here is blue raspberry. And we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to get a mop-up sheet. I just kind of keep some sheets in my mop-up box. I do use these on projects. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. And so I'm going to give it a pretty healthy dose of Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. All right. And then I'm going to take this dictionary page. I'm going to lay it over top. And I'm not going to waste any of my Glimmer Mist. So I'm going to pull that up. And look, I have this gorgeous texture on this paper. And I still have some more. So I'm going to take one more piece, and I'm going to just go ahead and use that to mop up the rest. So when I first started using Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist, I didn't use that mop up, and I felt like I was wasting a lot. But now, you know, I'm not. So we get this gorgeous texture on here. So that's our first layer. And now I'm just going to use another stencil, and I think I'm going to use this. And I'm going to use it this way. And I'm going to choose a different color. Let's use this. We're going to use this one. It's called Black Cherry. So I'm just going to get the mica moving on this one too. This black cherry, I have noticed that my sprayer, it just kind of makes a mess, so I have to be careful when it comes out. But I'm just going to kind of spray, let it set, use my mop-up page to mop up the excess. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I can now use this on something else. All right. And I don't worry about cleaning my stencils. You can, but I don't. So right now, this is kind of the texture that we have. And I don't know if you can see the glimmer, but I think I need to add some gold. So this right here is one of my favorites. I just got this. It's called Sunlight. And it looks very yellow, but it's actually, when you spray it on, it's very, very gold. The mica is gold, and it just has a beautiful, beautiful shine. So I'm going to just spray that over to kind of mute the colors a little bit. And I'm going to let that dry for a minute. I don't know if you can see that. And then I also have this Heidi Swap. It's more of a paint. It's called Tea, but it's more of a gold paint. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of gold sparkle, just to give it a little more texture. Get the excess off. Okay, so we kind of have a lot going on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove my spray box. And we're going to hang on to these mop-up pages because while this is drying, we are going to make a feather. We're going to make a little feather to go on here. So let me pull something from my mop-up box. I kind of like this light green. I know you can't see it very well, but that might be pretty to put in the corner. Let's see what else I have in here. So as junk journalers, you just don't want to waste anything. I think I am. Let's go with this green since we have the pink and the gold. All right. So, I think I want to use this side. No, actually I'm going to use this side. It has more green. So, I'm just going to go ahead and figure out about how wide I want my feather. And I don't want it much wider than that. This is about, I'm going to just zoom in a little bit here. This is about a little over 1 inch. I'm going to take my glue stick. And before I do that, I don't want to waste all of this. I don't want to glue all this down and waste this because I might use it on something else. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just glue down this paper. And we are going to make a gorgeous paper feather. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a shape of a feather. And I'm just kind of cutting sort of a leaf shape. So you can kind of see that. And before I do anything else, I want to kind of, I think I'm going to add a little bit of inking to this because I want it to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to grab my Tim Holtz Distress inks, and we're going to do some inking. So I have these Tim Holtz Distress inks, and I have, it's called Cracked Pistachio. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use that to ink up this feather. All right. And I'm just coming in on the edges a little bit. Just adding a little more color. You don't have to do the back. I'm just doing the back because you will see a little bit of the back. And I just want to get this a little bit darker, so All right. So it does kind of look like a leaf right now, but that's okay because we're going to actually, oops, goodness, I didn't mean to drop that. We're going to actually just add some more dimension to it once we keep it, or once we get it. So, all right, so we have this feather shape, and I need to just adjust this a little bit. There we go. It looked a little more like a leaf than I wanted it to. All right, so I like to start at the tip, the top, and I just start clipping very closely. I don't know if you can see that. Get that adjusted. Just start making these little slits. And I make them different lengths, different widths, not too thick. You can see it's starting to kind of take a feather shape. I just keep doing that. So I'm just going to quickly do this. And I go all the way down to the bottom. All right. And then I do the same thing from this way. Same angle. And I just quickly keep clipping. Now, once you do that, you want to kind of start taking out some of these pieces so it looks a little more like a feather. Okay, so I will come in and I'll trim a few shorter, not too many. Notice I just trimmed a couple, and then sometimes I'll come in at an angle and cut a few. I like to do a few at the top like that too, because you want that dimension. And if you mess up a little, you just fix it. These don't have to be perfect. Feathers are not perfect. All right, so I kind of have this feather. All right, next I kind of just fold it down the center and just crease it and just make it look a little more like a feather. So that's what we end up with. And then from here, I can add a little bit more color. So we're going to kind of set that to the side. And then I'm going to use just a little bit of this Studio cheap glitter glue. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glitter glue to the center just to give it some sparkle. I don't know if you can see that. And we're going to just let this dry because we're going to use that later. All right. So now that we've done that, we're going to bring our tag back. Our tag should be mostly dry. And this is what I consider the fun part. I have this little bin of scraps, and there's not much fabric at all for any of these. I mean, it's just little pieces. This is the biggest piece of fabric I have, but look at how little these pieces are. Okay, this is a great project for little tiny pieces. Okay, the other thing is I made this cute little tag, Bohemian, and I just put the definition. I made this myself. And I am going to go ahead and distress it a little bit, and we're going to round the corners on this one. I did not round the corners on my other one, but we are going to on this one. So I used the We Are Memory Keepers Crocodile Corner Chomper, and I'm using the 1/4 inch end. So I'm just going in and I am punching the edges to give them a rounded look. We end up with this. I'm going to go ahead and get out my Vintage Photo Distress Ink. And quickly distress this. And I think this is just really cute. I love this definition. I think it's another way to just add a little bit of an element. This can be great for a tuck spot or on a tag or on a page, but I just think it's really cute. Okay, so we're done with that. And now we're going to kind of just play a little bit with the fabrics. So I want this, scoot this up. I want this to be on my tag somewhere. I'm not sure where. I always like to leave the numbers on my inventory tags. That's just a personal thing that I like to do, but you definitely would not have to do that. I have this gorgeous piece that has like golds, and it's kind of a gauze fabric, and I really want to use that. So I think I'm going to start with that, and I want a little more of the gold, so I don't need a lot of it. All right. So the other thing you can do is just pull at the threads and get this gorgeous little frayed edges. And I like to do that a lot too. So just come up here. Just want to fray some edges, get that really rough bohemian look. And there we go. All right. So I like that so far. I want to add some color, of course. I have this little bit of green sari fabric. I kind of like that there. The other thing, lace and this kind of fabric always reminds me of Bohemian and gypsy style. I don't know why. So basically I'm just layering. I'm just adding color, adding texture, just continuing to build this little masterpiece. All right, so I don't like this piece, but I do kind of like it like this. All right. So now that we have this, I need to think about where I'm going to want this little feather once it's completely dry. And so kind of thinking I might put it like that. So this is probably not the best part for my lace, so I might move my lace down here. And I kind of like that. Okay, so basically I have my basic shape, kind of what I want. I am going to add some bling to it, but we're going to go ahead and we're just going to start gluing down some pieces, and we'll add if we need to. So I'm going to start with this piece. I'm going to use some of this tacky glue. If you have Fabri-Tac, that would definitely work well too. And I'm just putting a thin layer because this is a gauzy fabric. I want to be careful about putting too much. All right, so my little piece of lace down. And actually I want to move this over a little bit. Okay, so I want to offset this a little bit off the tag, not much. All right. I'm just pressing this down, and now we want to add our feather. So the feather can go however you want. I'm kind of thinking I might tuck it. Let's see. Actually, I think I might do that. But before I do that, I want to add a little more dimension to this. So I'm getting out my Parkoo erasable gel pens, and I'm going to use the green because I'm just going to add a little bit of doodling to this. So I'm just adding some lines. Nothing fancy, just adding some lines, some more dimension to it. And the thing I like about these Parkoo pens is that they dry very fast, and if I didn't like this, I could take my heat tool and I could get rid of those lines. So it's kind of nice to be able to just play a little bit and not have any problems. But I just really want just a little bit more dimension. All right. So that's what we end up with. All right, so I'm going to add this down here. I think if I add this and then put that on there, I think we're going to be in a just a little, I have to have a little bit of sequins in a bohemian theme. So tuck that behind there. All right. And now I can add this feather right here. There we go. All right. And I'm not gluing down the edges, I'm just kind of leaving it like this so that it'll pop up and have a little bit of dimension. Now my tag will be a little stiffer. It's still a little damp from the Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. I'm going to add this little piece of fabric right up here. And then I want to add some bling. So I'm going to pull off 3 of these little gems. I'm going to add them to my tag right there. All right, so there we go. We have this gorgeous boho. Now we're going to go ahead and flip it over to the back, and I'm going to put something on the back so that you can write on it. I could leave it just like this if I wanted to, but I don't like how this leaked through. That kind of bothers me. So I wanted to make sure that I covered it. So I'm going to get over here, get my stencils out of the way, and I have this little planning book that I got at the dollar spot in Target, and I'm just going to use this to create the back of the tag. So I'm just going to eyeball it a little bit, cut, right, and I'm going to cut across the top, and that is pretty good. So I'm going to get out my Distress ink again. And I'm just going to distress the edges a little bit. I'm doing this kind of quickly because I know our video is getting kind of long for just one tag. But once you get going and get all your pieces out, you can make quite a few tags. The first one takes the longest, but after that, they kind of whip together pretty quickly. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this down. to make sure that this all right. So here's where we are so far. Very cute. And the last thing we have to do is we need to add something up here. And so I'm going to go ahead and just add this green piece. And instead of putting it through the hole like I normally would, I'm going to staple it on there just to give it one more little element. So if I can get this to twist here, we'll be all set. Put a little loop there. Put it on here. Give it a staple. And there we go. We have this cute Bohemian tag with all of this dimension on it. And it's real easy, all with scrap fabrics. There was nothing that I had to go out and get. It was just all stuff that I had in my stash. So I really hope that you like these Bohemian tags. As I said, if you don't have Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist, just use paint. You can use ink. I could have used my Distress inks. I could have used just about anything for that. So, you know, I may go back and decide to make this a little bit longer if I don't. There we go. Move it up a little bit. But I just think they turned out really cute. So I hope you like this. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Share my video. If you have not subscribed to Rachel's Super Cute Creations, please subscribe. Down below will be all the links to my stores, and have a fantastic day.